Okay, friends, we are live. Am I audible? Am I audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. A little bit brief about what we discussed last time in the previous session on the health insurance basics part one. I'm not going to share the screen for that, but I'll be just telling in a bit about what I did so that in a couple of minutes when the others join, you would be able to get in, they will also be able to get in sync with what we are doing till now. So we discussed the basics first, of course, along with the reasons why a health policy is needed for most of us, because there is too much confusion about too many policies, too many companies available. Along with that, various confusing terms as well. What are the inclusions? What are the exclusions? What are the other factors that actually play a role in this? So then I actually first started with the 10 basic questions that you need to ask yourself before buying a health insurance. And some of those questions were: what type of health plan you have? What does your health policy will be covering actually? And what is the amount of coverage? And what are the exclusions in the policy? What are your routine tests, which is covered or not? Just a basic introduction. And then what is the costing of each plan? Usually how much or how which way is the policy premium determined, and if we have to avail for the other care factor, what we need to look at, and if we want to get the treatment from our preferred doctor, preferred hospital, what are the factors involved into that, and what is the number of maximum claims in a year. These are the 10 questions that we asked. Then I detailed you a bit about A to Z terminologies, predominantly the 14 terms which I used. Then I gave you and I think those terms were approximately the cashless claim, coverage amount, critical illness policy, and disability insurance, deductibles, exclusions, and floater policies, loading charges, no claim, overseas medical policy, personal accident, and restoration limit. And then I gave you a case study of Mr. Mehra, in which I further discussed the terminology of co-payment, pre-existing diseases, domiciliary hospitalization, grace period, congenital anomalies, network hospitals, free-look period, and of course, the portability part. And then I gave you a brief guidelines by IRDI about the portability factors or the reasons or the things we'll need to look into when we are porting the policy. There are certain set norms and principles that we really need to respond to. Then I detailed you separately about co-pay, co-insurance, and deductible, what exactly it is. So why we should be taking the health insurance, and then I detailed you about what is the right time to buy health insurance. Of course, the young ages, because of the low rejection rate, lower premium rates, waiting period, coverages, financial planning, duration, tax benefits, and of course the bonus factors as well. So then there are various factors. I gave it to you in brief about medical history, pre-existing age, profession, body mass index, and lifestyle related things. Further, then I detailed you about the a few do's and don'ts that we actually need to keep in mind when buying health insurance in India. There are quite a few. The don'ts were less, but the do's were about 5 to 6 in number. Then which company we should be picking? What is the reputation? What is the claim settlement ratio? What is their experience in the industry? Is it an award-winning one? What is the network hospital list? We all discussed that, and then we called it a day for session two. So as I said told you about various factors, that yes, many terms would be repetitive, but in health insurance or even for other insurance factors, a repetitiveness is a must usually to get the concept really going. Because maybe if I have discussed a concept in the first half of the first session, maybe you won't be remembering it by the end of the third session, especially if it is kept in a weekly mode as we have been keeping it in the past. Because of the COVID scenario, because of the say personal request from a few colleagues with discussion that I uh, had with my local branch members. So I actually fast tracked this in the session limit also, and also fast tracked this in on YouTube also. So the session that you had do 2 days before this, that will already been scheduled and will go online tomorrow morning at 8:30. So, and what we are going to take up, or we are taking up right now, will be going on Sunday morning, 10:30 or 8:30 again. So this is the way, actually, call it my payback to the society, call it whatever. But this is the reason I want that everyone should be aware of the health insurance, and nothing better than COVID times. So kindly allow me to share my screen for the second session so that we can begin on time. In just about 5 minutes of introduction, and then we are almost starting the process. So is the screen visible clearly? Let me know, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So today's session is basics part 2. So instead of a Friday, it is on a Thursday. uh, Intervening session. So as usual, all my presentations will begin with thanking the Lord Almighty, who's given me much more than what I deserve. And when it comes to finance, I have to thank my dad as well, who was instrumental in teaching me the clinical part of finance. So this is my brief biodata. You all are aware of it by now. So we have to understand the basics of the health insurance. The basics are my favorite in any topic because the basics hold the key. If you are a cricket player, you don't go in the ground and directly start hitting the shots. You need to understand your posture. You need to understand your feet. You need to understand your bat position. You need to understand your crease, all those things, and then you can go about hitting the shots. You may try, maybe you can hit a couple as well, but otherwise, if you are not adept to the basics, you will not be able to do that. Similarly, the basics hold the key in any sphere of life. So this is part 2 of the third part, and MPG webinar number 18 for the first half of 2021. So we left our conundrum in the session 1 on this slide, followed by this slide. Factors that impact our health insurance premium. I've discussed those in short, giving you a brief outlay. So let me begin with a detailed discussion. As I said, some things would be repetitive, but they are in a good taste for all of you. And trust me, when you search for the factors on health insurance, you will find some would give 5, 7, 10, 9, 12, but I'm going to give you 15 factors which are going to affect. Obviously, no one policy will have all the 15 factors, but yes, according to your family history, according to your suitability, according to your coverage, according to your geographic position, according to your city, according to your tier of the city, and then considering all those factors that are liable to cause any problem in your city or in your area or in your family, you can pick the maximum possible things for you. There is nothing called as a perfect policy which will give you all the factors, all the 15 factors that I have shortlisted. There might be a couple more, but there might be an overlap between the two factors, but that is the way I have designed this presentation. So we all know that life is full of uncertainties, and of course, medical emergencies are one of them. And buying a health insurance is almost inevitable. Those who delayed it last year actually have lost 1 year of their life, because then they have to pay the premium accordingly. So I hope you and me, both of us, all of us rather, were not expecting the pandemic, especially not in the 2020. Yes, we all had cases of Wuhan virus in November or December 2019, the new year, and that was in Wuhan, China only. But then we have had a history of SARS-CoV-1 virus, the MERS virus, the Ebola virus, all those viruses in the first half of 2000s, 2003, 4. But they never affected India in a great deal. In fact, not any major part of the world for that to be called it as a pandemic. The pandemic exactly arrived after 100 years, after the Spanish flu in 1920. It arrived exactly after 100 years. When 2020 began, it was destined to be one of the best years of my life, of our life. And trust me, even clinically speaking, it started as one of the best years. Jan, Feb, March, all were very good. Even when the lockdown happened, we already earned more than what we usually earn in a month, in the month of March 2020. But then national lockdown happened, pandemic fears overspread, and the rest is history. We are still staggering, and we are in a worse phase that we were exactly a year ago at that point of time. So there is no reason that why you should not be buying a health insurance, because whatever it is, all said and done, health cover still comes handy. Yes, there are a lot of riders, there are a lot of things that we discussed in the session one, but still the amount of coverage and the amount of security that they can provide, especially when it is a cashless at a network hospital, nothing can replace it. Trust me, when the loved one or the close one is suffering in the hospital, you don't look out for other things like filling the documentation or just getting those more systems into place. You always want to be closer to the loved ones. Obviously, you never know, it might be a mishap, you might lose the loved one, so it might be the last time that you're talking to someone. So you don't want to lose out on that time. Of course, I don't wish anyone for that to be going through that phase, but then this is a possibility. So if it is a health insurance, at least some part of documentation, at least in a network hospital, and some part of, and then another factor is the money factor. If you're not having free cash, then you have to rush to the banks, maybe get an something dipping into your retirement saving to be broken off, maybe some investments, maybe some emergency funds. You might have to take a sudden decision which you might regret later, that maybe थोड़ा सा और सोच लेते तो शायद कुछ और होता. But then that those moments are sometimes not the ideal moments to exercise your brain at that point of time, because at that point it is not important that what you're dipping into, you need the money. So the network and the cashless thing always makes a big difference in those scenarios. And there are many multiple factors we have discussed in brief. I'll be discussing now in depth about this thing. So this session today will be comprising of primarily the 15 factors that affect the health insurance, and then I'll be discussing the factors that affect the senior citizen health insurance for our parents, and then the group insurance, the portability of the same, and of course group insurance versus individual insurance, and then one more heading, and then we'll call it a day. So the rest of the comparisons, the rest of the data-based comparisons, the COVID policies, and the most important topic, the frequent associated myths with insurance, those I'll be taking up tomorrow in the Friday evening session. So that is going to be a slightly longish session. So that is the reason I've kept the time tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. So we all should be knowing about the waiting period thing, the benefits of the policy, the cashless hospitalization, the co-pay, room rent limitations, and all other things amongst many. So we should be aware of these factors when we have to pick a health insurance, because when you find too many options, sometimes you get confused which one to pick for, and it seems like a lottery to us कि ये डाल लें वो ले लें. फिर ultimately होता वही, as I mentioned in the day before yesterday session, that you ask someone who's already bought it, maybe a neighbor, friend, colleague, and उसने भी आगे किसी से पूछा होता है, then that chain goes on to a person who has maybe acquired a 60% knowledge, and that knowledge when filtered from one colleague to another may have reached to about 15 to 20%, or maybe even less than that. And then we blame that person or blame that friend who suggested us. We asked him, they didn't suggest us. So we need to remember that we didn't use our top floor, and that is the reason these sessions are there. Exercise your top floor of the brain, so in the normal times, so that you're covered in the abnormal times or the emergency times. So I know the jargons are very much intimidating, many of them are confusing, but those of you who have attended the first session, many of you were aware of it, I know. But those who attended the last session, at least were not aware, at least got a hang of the things which you actually were going to be dished out in today's session. So let me give you a few factors, what I believe should be important factors. As I said, there might be a couple more, couple less, but this is the list of 15 that I actually look at. So the number one is the which type of plan, individual or family floater. We discussed about it a little bit. We'll discuss more in today's session. So cashless hospitalization, network hospitals, age criterion. We discussed that, why it is good to be picking the same in the young age, and duration of the waiting period. I'll give you examples of a few policies in this. Then PCR, premium to coverage ratio and room rent. Pre-existing disease coverage, co-payment clause, selecting the right amount, claim process, maternity benefits, pre and post hospitalization, lifetime renewal, free medical checkup or preventive health checkup, daycare procedures, very important, and no claim bonus. Again, I'll be giving wherever possible, I have added the and data slides along with for the various policies. So let's begin discussing each of these 15 factors one by one. So when you are choosing, you first have to know that what plan are you choosing, individual or family floater. As I discussed, individual is only for a person, any one individual in the family, but the family floater plan is for the whole family. For example, someone living in a joint family can have two kids, the parents, and two husband wife covered. So you can six of you can be covered in that policy. Any one member can take any number of claims in unlimited times in a year up to some insured, and if you exhaust the limit, you can restore the same by paying a nominal amount. Of course, you have the option to get individual plans as well, but if you know that always a corporate plan kind of a thing or a group plan of kind of a thing is going to be always cheaper. So if you buy the same coverage, for example, a 5 lakh coverage for 6 people in your family, and you buy a 30 lakh family floater plan, you calculate that 30 lakh family floater plan will ultimately come out to be cheaper, even if uh, the sum which is to be insured is taken by the age of the eldest family member in that. So this family floater plan will cover each one of you in the plan, and the total sum shared is total sum insured is shared between all of you. So as I mentioned, the restoration benefit, if you exhaust, if your, God forbid, your father or your mother is being hospitalized every second month, and you have a good expenditure incurred in that, and you maybe you have a 20 lakh family floater plan, and you exhaust that by maybe the 7th month your of the year. So the company will give you an option to pay some amount to restore the limit, or even the 50% of the limit, or whatever limit you want for the coverage, to by paying a nominal amount for the remaining 5 years. And as I mentioned previously, this is not carry forward next year. Next year you can opt for a bigger plan, that yes, पिछले साल मेरा 20 लाख खत्म हो गया था, तो I can opt for a 30 lakh this year. That you can do at the start of the policy, but not otherwise. That the original 10 lakhs will not be carried forward to the next 20 lakh if you have a family floater plan of 20 lakhs. So there are different plans available. They work differently. As I mentioned, there are fixed benefit plans, indemnity plans, or benefit based plans. So indemnity will reimburse the amount of hospital bills. In defined benefit plans, the lump sum is paid irrespective of the actual hospital expense. The defined benefit plans we discussed before are the critical illness coverage plans. If you have attended the session previously, you might be aware of that by now. So the critical illness falls in the benefit based plans, and the individual or family floater are or Mediclaim are the indemnity plans. So for example, the coverage, if you say is 9 lakh and the hospital bill is 1.8 lakh. So in Mediclaim, your 1.8 lakh will get reimbursed. Of course, the riders of deductibles and co-payment and co-insurance aside, for those things aside, just presuming that this will get covered. But in a critical illness plan, if you have a 9 lakh plan, you'll get the 9 lakh reimbursed the first day when it is diagnosed. And of course, when you go through that process, the critical illness claim process is not very long, of course. So these two plans are not complementary, as we discussed in the CI coverage plan. They are actually supplementary in nature. So they cannot be substituted. They actually help each other. As I mentioned, you may have a additional critical illness coverage in your existing plan, but I advise always a separate critical illness coverage plan depending upon your family history. So better safe than sorry is always the saying, and you can actually buy a policy online as well. The reason behind this is that you actually, of course, I've covered this part very in depth in the myths, which we'll be discussing in the third session. But online policies come a tad cheaper because the company, again, sharing the profits is the scheme. They don't have to pay the commissions to the agents. They don't have to go through the lengthy physical paperwork process. Everything can be uploaded online. Yes, they might need a physical copy separately for record, but then that process is the one that can be escaped. You can scan and upload your documents and save on your email. And of course, the company has the final say to whether they want to select you as a customer or not, whether they approve your policy or not. So make these medical insurances as a shield and against any kind of catastrophe that can strike our family. So I always encourage having a family floater plan, especially if your parents are having some pre-existing diseases, and you need to make sure that the whole family is covered in one plan, because you never know, it can strike children as well. It can strike, of course, the old people. Strikes old people very commonly. So always consider their present ailments and your medical history, because these both things are very important in that. Pre-existing information is very important. Do not skip them at any cost, because it will ultimately lead to your claim being rejected only. So you need to make sure. So the second factor is cashless hospitalization benefit. So we discussed last time, the network hospitals will actually settle the bill or the claim themselves. The company representative and the hospital will do the documentation part, and while you can tend to your loved ones, sitting close by to them, if you are allowed to, of course, meet them. If they are in ICU or ICU, maybe you may not be having that privilege to meet them for the, say, full period of 24 hours, but then that is a separate thing altogether. So you can actually just submit your policy details and avail cashless treatment. Cut down a lot of paperwork on your time, because that is required. This is mandatory. The paperwork, record keeping, even if we do or not do in our clinic, the hospitals are liable to do it. They have to maintain it, considering the rise in the violence, the rise in the consumer court cases, and many other factors which are there. So the network hospital or the cashless system is a quicker process. So always review your network list before deciding upon the plan. And I believe that you should, even when you renew the policy next year, obviously when you pay the premium, I mean to say, check out the list, because the hospital cashless network list is revised every year. Maybe the hospital might have some difference of opinion, some difference in charges, so they might opt out of the company's network paradigm. So it is important that you actually stay put to those lists and be aware of all those things. So always opt for a credible company. We covered this aspect, why you should opt for a creditable company, because every hospital would like to be associated with them, and vice versa. They would also like to be associated with a well-known, renowned hospital, and it works both ways. The hospital gets the work, and the insurance company gets the coverage, and of course the reputation as well, that they are associated with a big hospital. And obviously you don't need to arrange for the funds and then file for reimbursement, because that can be cumbersome, because when you dip into your retirement, you actually break your investment. You break your investment sometimes. You lose the compounding advantage. I'll narrate a very short story here. I read it in my childhood कि जब आम का पेड़ लगता है, mango tree, so when it starts growing up, it has flowers blooming. Obviously those flowers will turn into obviously in fruits as well. But जो gardener होता है, जब माली होता है, he cuts down those trees or those flowers, so that there are no fruits at that time. So it lets it grow. So once it grows up and then those flowers turn into fruits, that is the time you actually can take the advantage of the fruit every year. But if the fruits or the flowers are not cut by the gardener at a younger age, then the plant will not grow to the massive level that it normally does. वो उतना सा ही रहेगा plant, and then वो fruits, जितना size है फिर fruits या flowers भी उतने ही आएंगे ना. So that is the reason the tree, sometimes short gains have to be spilled over to get long-term gains. So similarly, the compounding advantage has to be dipped into if you break your investments. So the cashless is one of the very important factors when it comes to choosing. So if out of the 15 you have to pick any 6 or 7 factors, cashless should be in your list, surely. So take this one factor very importantly. I'll keep on telling you what according to me are the best 6 or 7 factors, of course. Then the age criteria, of course, being younger always helps. We discussed this in detail in last session. So obviously in family floater policy, they actually choose upon your eldest family member's age, but then age limit is a good criteria when you're choosing your health insurance cover. And there, then always check for the entry levels as well. If your folks or if your parents are above the age of 60, they might not, the company's policy might not be there. Some companies have an entry age limit of 90 days, means a 3-month-old child can have a health insurance. Obviously, the young children rarely have a problem apart from the congenital problems, if they have any, God forbid. But the entry level is 91 days and sometimes it is 60 years. But then there are plans that have a age limit from 25 to 50 as well. So you have to check the age factor also. And obviously no company works for losing out money. They also want to make money, and we also want to be helped in cases of dire straits or dire needs, when we need the money from the company if we have a medical emergency in our family. So then there are some plans which don't have any restrictions on entry age. There are plans which are available up to 80, 82 as well. So choose that option accordingly. So if you're going in for a family floater plan, they'll allow you to cover your 2 minor children and you two, husband and wife. They might not allow you to cover the grandchildren, or sorry, grandparents of the kids, or your parents for that matter, in that. So remember, this is again one of the important factors. But usually only a few companies come with the age limit. Most of them have a age limit of 70 plus usually. But then you have to check the policy document what your policy allows you. So because health wise, age is a critical factor. We know that there are a lot of things which are dependent upon age, especially the premium, and the oldest family member will get to be calculated on behalf of the whole family. So then duration of the waiting period. This is the second most important thing for me out of the 15. If you are aware of the waiting period, you need to tick a mark on this. And obviously no health company, except for one or two out of the 25, 26 existing, will cover your pre-existing illnesses, and they will have a coverage from a predefined time only. They might cover the same from 24 to 48 months, means 2 years to 4 months is the waiting period. And then some diseases that are not covered, or maybe which are initially not added, like thyroid, blood pressure, diabetes, or maybe chronic illness like arthritis, varicose veins, the cataract, they also fall under the waiting period clause. Anything can be 24 to 48 for a disease which is, for example, related to your intestinal diseases. They are usually 48 months. Also liver related problems also 48 months, 4 years. So you can claim the benefit of the same when your waiting period is over. So if you have a surgery lined up in the next 2 months, no policy can help you, of course, in that case. So even for the basic coverage, for example, if you're hospitalized for a normal thing, not because of any pre-existing thing, there is still a waiting period of 30 days before you make the claim for other than pre-existing. In majority policies, some have 45, some have 60 also, but the minimum is usually 30 days. So you cannot make any because in any case 15 days is the free look period. So 30 days is the waiting period before you claim for a disease or hospitalization other than pre-existing. So then COVID products, when they were launched, they actually came up with policies which actually had a rider of 30 days as well. But then policies, competitive policies kept on happening, and there are a lot of relaxations now. Major policies are coming with a 15-day waiting period now. I'll discuss the COVID specific policies in the next, the ones which are very famous, the HDFC Suraksha policy and the Reliance Kavach policy. And of course, ID also launched one with Bharti XI, I guess. Oh, sorry, with I don't remember, Axis, I guess. So it is best to know the waiting period clearly so that there are no disputes. Rather than we blame the company, ये घटिया कंपनी है, चोर है, साले कुछ नहीं करते हैं, sorry for my language, but we use it sometimes in agitation or frustration. But again, the pinpointing of the finger at one finger at them means 3 fingers are pointing towards us. We don't know where actually the fault was. We didn't read only. We didn't know only. We just bought it on hearsay. So choose a plan, the waiting period, which can help you maximally in cases of when you have to write. So as I told you, Apollo Munich, Apollo DKV, Apollo Munich now is HDFC Ergo, but still HDFC Ergo is offering the Optima Restore plan. It is one of the very famous plans which had a lot of sales. So what are the waiting periods covered in that? So 24 months for ENT procedures, sinusitis, rhinitis, tonsillitis, gynec procedures related to females, cysts, polyps, breast lumps, polycystic ovarian disease, PCOD, as we know, fibroids. Then orthopedic, non-infective arthritis, gout, rheumatism, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, all these are covered from 24 months after the policy. And additional waiting period means 48 is for nasal, for midline deviation or the nasal septum deviation, or any prolapsed vertebra surgery, hernia surgeries. Hernia surgery is a very typical surgery. Hernia is a very common disease, and 48 months for the waiting period. And then some companies come with a rider. Even if you spend 2 lakhs, I mentioned last time, some companies will have a limit of 40,000 for the surgery. Then varicose veins and varicose ulcers. So Max Bupa has no riders for 48 months. It only has 24 months. And stones in biliary, urinary system, lumps, cysts, polyps, all those, cataract and all those things. So the plan name is Health Companion Health Insurance Plan. So yes, this thing needs to be evaluated very, very cautiously. Obviously, gynec diseases do not usually follow the hereditary pattern. It mostly follows the lifestyle of the individual. But yes, orthopedic and ENT are sometimes important when we calculate the same. So then the PCR, or the premium to coverage ratio, and the room rent. We always try to buy the insurance policy with lowest premium. Even the TV ads we discussed last time, they'll promote 432 रुपए 600 रुपए महीना से start है, अब तो ले लो. So that is the way, because India, anything which is not giving you tangible benefits immediately, of course, we always calculate it by the money way. And we always want कि सबसे कम premium policy लेनी है, लेके रख लो, as if we are doing a duty which is to be done and we are doing it half-heartedly. So don't do it that way. Don't look at the premium. Premium should be the last thing that should be looked at. Of course, look out other factors. If I have to pick the list of 6 or 7 factors, premium would not be in that list for me. But yes, when I have the 7 factors for me covered, I'll then compare the comparative policies, and then I look that ये 7 चीजें मुझे किसमें मिल रही हैं और उनमें से किसका premium सबसे कम. Then I look for those factors. Premium comes into the window after those 7 factors. Of course, there are companies which work on their brand value, like HDFC Ergo. HDFC will always try to use its brand. But then you need to remember there might be a comparative policy, a branded one equally, which will give you a similar policy at a lesser premium. So these factors need to be taken into account. But then why do you choose the lowest premium? There are 2 sides to it. As they say, there are 2 sides to the same coin. So the lesser premium can be good if it is giving you a good coverage at a premium that you can pay. But if you look at that factor, that yes, if there is extensive coverage at a lesser premium, there might be some other catch in it also. So the other aspect is lesser premium at cost of the insurance coverage. So usually the difference is because of the lack of awareness. So people will choose a health plan कि जो हमारे budget में भी fit हो जाए, because budget is then the secondary, primary thing to them कि policy ले रहे हैं. Then there are companies which will offer you a monthly premium option or a quarterly option and even a 6 monthly option. There are a few companies that do that also, but majority you have to pay the annual premium. So if you have a lower premium rate policy, your coverage would also be very minimal. Remember that. A policy of 7,000 for a young 30-year-old male non-smoker in a tier 2 city or a tier 2 city only will not give you above 5 lakhs in any case. And there will be a lot of deductibles. There will be a lot of copay also associated with it. And of course, there will be sub limits also added with it. The only thing is lower premium rates. We discussed it in the last session. Higher the deductible, higher the copay, sometimes lower is the premium. So you have to need those factors. The room rent or the sub limits might not be a criteria in the lower premium, but the deductible and the copay or the co-insurance might be. So the best reason is कि ये अगर कम ले रहे हैं पैसे तो क्यों ले रहे हैं? लुक आउट फॉर द रीजंस व्हाई दे आर चार्जिंग लेस. या तो नेटवर्क हॉस्पिटल्स कम होंगे. इफ द नेटवर्क हॉस्पिटल, समटाइम्स क्या होता है, हम कंपेयर करते हैं नंबर ऑफ हॉस्पिटल्स. 7,000 इसके हैं, इसके 6,900 है. Maybe the 100 missing are the ones which are the very important ones, the big hospital ones. Maybe they are not covered in that. I won't name the policy, but there is a hospital, almost I can say a third grade hospital in my locality, private hospital, of course. I can say it is even worse, no disrespect, but it is worse than the civil hospital or the local civil dispensary also. And that was covered in that in one of the policies. And a colleague of mine actually from a different city asked me, "Yaar, this hospital is there. This is a thing of I think when the COVID struck last year." He asked me in April, "Ye hospital mention hai, kaisa hospital hai?" So when I told him the reality, he actually dumped the policy only. That if it is covering a network with a third grade hospital, I doubt the other good hospital would be there. Then he asked me about the list of other hospital names. Then checked out the names. All of the big names except one were missing in that list. So you need to look into not the number of the hospitals. The quantity sometimes is not important. The quality definitely is. So again, we need to check the additional clause of limits, co-payment deductibles, of course. But otherwise, you need to keep a balance. If you're paying higher deductible and co-payment, nothing wrong in it. But then your premium should be low and your PCR should be high. The premium to coverage ratio. You're paying low premium, but higher amount covered. But that is balanced by a higher deductible and a higher co-payment. कोई कंपनी ऐसी नहीं होएगी जो आपको लोअर प्रीमियम भी दे, ऑलमोस्ट लोअर और नील डिडक्टिबल भी दे, 2% का कोपे दे और कवरेज आपको 10 लाख की दे. देयर विल बी नो वन. कोई भी जेब से नहीं खाता है. सब everybody will want to earn profits if they are working. So always look out for the right balance between the benefits, between the premium you are paying, between the deductibles, between the network hospital. Of course, network hospital होगा तो cashless वाली facility surely होएगी उसके बीच में. So then the right balance, as I said, is very important to look for a good premium to coverage ratio. So compare the plans or maybe speak to a colleague, speak to an expert who knows about it, and always pay attention to co-payment structures. Of course, co-payment structures are usually there in the senior citizen policies or in the family floater plans. In individual policies, there are very less co-payment structures or on the lesser percentage wise. So sometimes, as I mentioned last time, there might be room rent limits also. Remember, when we look at the overall scenario, your room rent thing, if it is fixed at 1% of your total coverage, for example, if it is a 5 lakh coverage, your 1% would be somebody is unmuted, please. Okay, thank you. If it is fixed at 5,000 per day, if your 5 lakh policy and 1% limit is there, in a policy, if the room rent is on the higher side, remember the doctor visiting fees and the other admission charges and other things will be on the higher limit, higher side, and they will come with a prefixed limit also. And yes, these are the things which are you will be paid only up to this amount. So look out those things, all those limitations, which is all mentioned in your policy document, that what is covered and what is not covered. As I mentioned, medical treatment expenses also, your surgery charges, your visit charges, your doctor fees, your whatever are based are also actually on the basis of room rent. If you bought in a higher or expensive room in the hospital, all these charges will be escalated. वो सिंपल भाषा में बोलते हैं ना, जितनी महंगी गाड़ी होती है उतनी महंगे उसके स्पेयर पार्ट्स होते हैं. So Maruti 800 के स्पेयर पार्ट्स सस्ते होते हैं. For a Mercedes, they are expensive. So remember, the same applies, logic applies in marketing everywhere as well. So always check the room rent allowances, what is allowed. And usually if the room rent is at 5,000, you won't get a shabby room, that is for sure. Even if it is a very good hospital or a high-end hospital, you won't get a shabby room in 5,000. So you need to be aware of this factor. So always... Hello.
Sorry, sir, for just stopping here. Can I just make one point here?
No, please, let me continue. Please, you can do anything at there. You can note it down. You can please make your additions in the end. No problem.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you. So because it affects sometimes my flow, and I have to then look out and search for the slides which I have made in togetherness. Of course, you can note down this point and we'll discuss this point immediately. I'll allow you the time to speak immediately after I finish, before I take up the queries. So always look out for long-term benefits, co-pay and room rent limitations, because sub-limits, again, other than the room limits, room rent limit, sub-limits are surely another criteria. So sublimits means even if the doctor fees is allowed per visit up to 500 and the hospital charges you 600, you have to pay that difference of 100 as well. So the doctor fees, the nursing charges, the ICU charges, they are all linked to the room rent. So accordingly, you have to choose those things. In most policies, it is capped at 1%, and so are the other hospital expenses accordingly. Even if it is a network hospital, sometimes you will say that, yes, if I am allowed a 5,000 room, I don't want it. I want a higher room. So accordingly, your charges will increase as well. So proportionately, as I mentioned, they will get, and your reimbursement would be based on your sublimits only, and depend, even if your total bill, for example, your total sum cover insured is 5 lakh rupees, and your total hospital bill comes out to be 4 lakh rupees, deductibles, co-insurance aside, co-insurance and deductibles aside, whatever limits you have, and if you have crossed certain limits, let's suppose those limits calculatively come out to 50,000. So you will be still reimbursed 3.5 lakh out of 4 lakh, and the remaining 50,000 will have to be paid by you. And I'm talking of this 50,000 other than co-insurance, co-pay or deductibles. So this is based on what other expenses that get a boost or proportional wise, which are increased. So room rent sometimes seems like a very trivial charge, but can be exorbitant sometimes. So you need to take that factor into account. But then this is again one of the factors which is not in my list of 6 or 7 factors for sure. So then make sure to disclose pre-existing diseases. A full and honest disclosure is very important. And we all know that none of the diseases would be covered in the first from the first day itself. So surely you need to look into those factors as well. And your coverage of the pre-existing would be only after a certain amount of period only. I mentioned 24, 36, 48, depends upon various policies. So yes, if I have a family history of a certain disease, pre-existing coverage or the waiting period would be on my checklist of 7 factors if I have to pick, especially if it comes with the star terms and conditions applied. If I have a positive family history of certain diseases for which I have a waiting period, this would be under my checklist. But then you have the duty to a full and honest disclosure so that your claim is not rejected. These things are voluntary, but if you make a mistake at some place, you are surely bound to suffer, and your claim might be rejected, and you might be blacklisted as well to get a further policy from the company. So make a honest disclosure in that regard. So I gave you an example of the Apollo Munich. Now compared with the similar, I'll give you with the New India Insurance. So in the same Optima Restore plan, 36 months waiting period from policy commitment for all pre-existing conditions declared at the time of application. So if you have a pre-existing condition which was not declared, that is not covered only. So that means you are not having that. And it is very easy for the people to make a diagnosis. The company also has a tie-up with a lot of hospitals and doctors, and your statement would not matter at that time. Yes, nahi, hame baad mein hui thi. So that is something very different from that regard. So then New India policy, the top-up Mediclaim policy, 48 months of continuous coverage has elapsed from the date of inception of the policy. So these vary from company to company. So then find out if there are co-payments. Usually, as I said, in senior citizen policies, this is a reality, and this amount has to be borne. For a normal average policy, the co-payment is about 20% of the bill. You can even opt for a higher limit. If you opt for a higher co-payment, of course, your either your coverage would, the premium to coverage ratio would go high, because your premium would be decreased in those cases. So a higher limit of co-payment would save you on premium as well, and the PCR ratio increases or the coverage increases. So we actually get confused and we ignore such terms Trust me, many of the people who are having health policies since 10 years, luckily they didn't need any hospitalization. They are still not aware of the co-payment clause fully. I gave you the difference of deductible copay and co-insurance separately, citing a example as well. But many people are still not aware of it. So check out those clauses, what is covered into there. People, companies are very smart. They'll slip in these clauses sometimes, even we are not aware of it. And even the agents play smart. वो तो अगर आपको होगा ना तो आपको देना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज वैसे थोड़ा देना पड़ता आपको. They'll try to play it smart with a good choice of words. Then, if possible, buy a plan that does not have a sublimit. I mentioned about the sublimit. I will 100% avoid that plan, which gives me a rider on the doctor fees, nursing charges, hospital fees. What is the benefit of such things if I have to still pay for those limits? Of course, if I'm getting a decent enough or a normal room for that reason. So if the co-payment amount is high or very high, the main purpose of policy is defeated. If you opt for a 50% or a 60% co-payment, you might have a lesser premium, but then sometimes if the total bill turns out to be 10 lakhs, which is a reality in today's times, you will have to pay 5 or 6 lakhs from your pocket. Sometimes you might not be able to or very happy to pay that amount. Maybe you might be having some scarcity of money in that regard. So always pay attention to these details. So for a national insurance policy, Mediclaim Plus, co-payment of 20% of admissible claim if treatment taken in non-network hospital. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, they come with different plans. Then national insurance company, same policy. Room limit, sublimit is up to 1% of sum insured per day. ICU up to 2% of sum insured per day, subject to a maximum of 15,000. Even after the 2,000 limit, they have kept a tab at 15,000 per day. Star Health Insurance, we discussed last time. ICU charges 2,000 per day, subject to a maximum of rupees 10,000 per hospitalization. That means you can stay in ICU for 5 days only, as per them, at 2,000. So again, if this kind of a rider is there, we all know no ICU charges are 2,000 per day. So obviously, and 10,000 ICU is sometimes a day's charge also. So we need to understand that this kind of a policy, which offers such kind of sublimits, is a big no for me. So don't opt for that. Then get a fix on the amount of coverage. We discussed about the premium to coverage ratio, selecting the right insurance amount. We discussed various factors last time. I used to tell 2 to 5 lakhs insurance is must medically. But after COVID, even I would say anything from 7 to 8 lakhs is a good amount of coverage, or up to 10, even for an individual, should be the one which is opted for. And if it is a family floater plan, minimum I would recommend a 30 lakh coverage for the whole family. Of course, there is no thumb rule to decide that. Your medical history would decide that. Of course, your tier of city would decide that. And the biggest factor is that your tier of city is linked to the inflation part as well. You have to factor in inflation also, because all those charges keep on rising, and medical inflation rises faster than the normal inflation. So ideally include your family members as well. And if you're having an employer policy, either get it converted to individual plan, or maybe you can opt for a separate independent coverage as well, even from the same company or from a different company. So select the amount wisely. What are the riders involved in conversion of group health to an independent coverage? I'll be discussing at the end of today's presentation. So select the amount wisely, as it covers the amount for the whole year. So take your age into account. The younger you are, the lower sum insured you would need. So always look at your income levels also to analyze the premium affordability as well, because sometimes we don't look into those factors. So another vital aspect is the add-on sometimes, which we can add separately to the premium amounts for the various limit factors as well. So then sum insured should not be falling short also in cases of emergency. So always select a plan which should give you good coverage. So if I say that 3 lakh or a 5 lakh coverage, this is not sufficient anymore, because surgeries and all those say hospital admissions are going costlier each day. We discussed last time that even a COVID hospitalization, when it started in April, May last year, was as high as 15 to 17 lakh for some. But yes, a heart procedure which is costing 2.5 to 3 lakhs today will surely cost in the next 7 to 8 or 10 years 8 lakhs to 10 lakhs. So we have to factor in the inflation as well when we are buying a sum assured. Ideally, for such procedures, as we discussed in the critical illness, CI plan would be a good one. But yes, if especially if you are not having a family history of cardiac history, you will not buy a CI plan for a cardiac usually. But then you need to make sure that this can strike anyone at any age, and more so for dentists, because most of us have a sedentary lifestyle. We work from one chair to another chair. We hardly move in the day. So again, factor in inflation while deciding the amount for that piece. Then the claim process. This is one factor which I'll give a tick mark if I have to say 7 factors. Yes, the claim settlement ratio is one of the major factors. And of course, the better customer care. If it is an online one, the better it is for me. And because the policy wordings, the claim settlement ratio, and the claim process all should be smooth. So read about it, read customer reviews also online. Everything is available online. Not everything is fake, especially the customer reviews. So select a plan which is known for its seamless claim settlement services. We discussed this factor. Rishabh also gave his input regarding the claim settlement part. Yes, the figures are sometimes 90% being shown for many companies, but then there is a rider to it that what was the amount which was covered, what was the amount which was asked for reimbursement, and what was the amount which was not covered. So we need to make sure that if you are in a non-network hospital, there will be many things which will not be covered, and accordingly we have to think about those things. Then for the females, yes, a very important factor, maybe with a star. If some of you are already mothers, yes, you might not be, but needing this. But if some of you are not, still enjoying the early years of your marriage or marital bliss, you can actually factor in taking the policy with maternity benefits, because even bringing a first child into the family is a very expensive exercise. Right from the day you have your LMP, your last menstrual period, and of course when you miss it, and the say scans or everything that starts, and those go up to 3 months post delivery as well. All those factors, the care factor, of course, not the scans, but the care factor surely. So again, there is a waiting period of 2 to 4 months before you can claim the maternity benefits. So if someone of you is unmarried and planning to start a family in maybe a couple of years time, have a policy which gives you a 2 years waiting period on maternity benefits, and that should work best for you. So also very important is that that should be covering your newborn baby's medical expenses apart from the delivery cost. Of course, they don't cover the pre or the pregnancy period, most of them. But yes, right from your admission for delivery, or even some companies cover the complications as well initially, if there are those. So don't forget to check the limitations, because there are a lot of riders attached to maternity benefits. So you need to check into the waiting period, the sublimits, if there are any, and also check any outpatient expenses or any exclusions which are related to the policy. Some will not cover a cesarean, some will cover a cesarean, some will cover, they will have a sublimit on a cesarean. So it is all dependent upon various factors. Then pre and post hospitalization, we discussed that last time. Before you encounter a problem, you visit a doctor multiple times, and if you don't get cured, then you're advised certain tests, then maybe a few scans, CT, MRI, all those tests which are not very cheap these days. So you have to undergo those before you are finally diagnosed with something, and then you are admitted. Of course, with your policy, you'll be covered with the normal medical claim policy. You'll be covered only for the hospitalization part. But before that, a pre-hospitalization, and once you're discharged, your post-operative care continues, maybe a physiotherapy, maybe another thing, maybe a visiting doctor, whatever, depending upon how ambulatory you are, ambulatory or non-ambulatory you are. So that'll also continue. So factor in a policy which gives you a pre and a post hospitalization benefit as well for your ambulance charges, medical tests, medicine, doctor fees. We don't look into these factors. We discussed the ambulance thing. Somebody who charged 1,20,000 for a short visit as well. People actually make hay while sun shines. It happens. It is true for many of the professions, not only medical profession. But then we need to make sure that this does not happen with us. Then there are only a few policies which will offer a lifetime renewal. They always will have a certain time limit. But then if you are suffering from certain diseases and when you're old, your lifetime renewability will not be allowable. So take up a plan which can be renewed at least till 75 to 80 years of age. Remember, entry level of 18 to 60 or 91 days to 60 or 50 is something else. Renewal is something else. Renewal is maybe you started your policy at 45 and the renewal may be possible till 70 or 75 to 80 years of age. The entry is not possible sometimes in policy after 50 or 60. So don't confuse or mix between the two terms. These are two entirely different terms. So then free medical checkup, we need to undergo mandatory tests, especially those who are heart patients or those who have any family history of any cardiovascular cancer screening or any MRIs. If you are undergoing that, make sure that your policy is covering your preventive health checkups as well, so that your insurance company pays for it. And yes, you can definitely save some money there if the same is covered in your medical policy. But then check out the coverage limit. Check out for if the company, if it is giving you a free medical checkup, and obviously it should not be affecting premium when the policies undergo renewal. So health plan is your best help during such emergencies. Then this is one of the most commonest myths which has been existing ever since the policies came into time being, that जैसे people ask us also कि मेरे को medical leave दे दो या मेरे को आप किसी ट्रीटमेंट के लिए हॉस्पिटलाइज कर दो, because I'll get reimbursement from my company only if I am hospitalized for 24 hours. That clause has been done away long back. Daycare procedures are covered because with the advent of laparoscopy surgeries, people are sometimes discharged on the same day. And this happens, this is true. So there is no longer a 24-hour hospitalization clause, because majority of the companies, majority would say 90% companies in today's times, they cover the daycare procedures which are less than 24 hours. And some would mention 24 hours, some would mention 2 nights. There is a difference. You went in the hospital at 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. in the afternoon, you were admitted and you were discharged the next day at 12 noon. You will say, "Main 23 ghante ke liye raha," because they have to mention at the discharge slip the amount of the time of the time you were discharged from the hospital. So they'll mention 23 hours of hospitalization. Some would say, "Nahi, 24 ke liye to aapko 2 raatein bitani padengi." So those things have been done away with now. These are no longer a permanent thing in today's times. And there is a beautiful comparison for these in the next presentation, in the third part tomorrow, about the myths. All those myths, if there are factors I've discussed with you 15, trust me, there are 20 myths also which will be debunked tomorrow. There are a lot many, and some of them are multiple also. One myth will have all the say slash options as well. So even again, when you search for many things on the internet also for myths, you will not find more than 10, 7, maybe 7, 10 or 12 myths. More than myths you won't find. But I'll give you 20 such myths. Of course, those 20 will have at least 25 plus points, because many will have double or triple points in that. So then the no claim bonus. We discussed some would offer a straightaway discount in premium. Some would offer other benefits. Some would offer increasing your sum insured every year. So this is the claim like a car insurance, like a vehicle insurance, that if you don't make a claim, you have a claim free year, you will actually get a cash back from the company in a way, or a benefit back from the company. Not exactly cash back, but yes, that is also option, along with discussion, reduction in premium, cashback, and third thing as I mentioned, the increase in sum insured. So yes, a couple of you were not there in the last session. You might find a few things confusing, but if you are attending today, you can attend the session 1 tomorrow morning on YouTube. many things would be joining together. But yes, those who attended attentively first time, they might be getting all the things now positively in their mindset for the future decisions to make in their family. So all those claim for years, some will increase your coverage amount, but most companies would specify their NCB limit. So whatever it is, increase. For example, if you buy a health insurance plan of 5 lakh, the company would offer you 10% NCB for every claim free year up to a maximum of 50%. So it depends. I'll show you the table, how the NCB is decided by some companies. But these are the 15 points that you have to consider. No company will have all the 15 points. If they have it, the premium would be on the higher side. Because if any company would have the 15 points, the PCR goes out of the window. The premium to coverage ratio. If they have all the points, the premium will be high. For the sum insured would be again very high. So all those factors will not be there. And of course, those who are already having 2 or 3 kids, they won't be needing the maternity benefits. There are other things. Those who are living in a nuclear family only, maybe they have deceased parents, or maybe the parents live with someone else. Even they will not need the family floater plan for the senior citizens. So there are variable factors which will suit a particular individual. So if you ask me what is the best policy, do I really know you? Do I really know your background? Do I really know your medical history? Do I really know your budget? Do I really know your pre-existing diseases? So how can I tell you the best policy? If something is best for me, it cannot be best for you. Because again, my answer would be the same. Your unique situation is best understood by you only. So whenever someone asks me a best thing, and a friend told me, जब तुम लोगों को बताते नहीं हो ना कि ये बेस्ट कौन सी है, उनको ये लगता है कि तुम्हें पता नहीं है. It is their wish. I'm not going to make everyone happy over here. I will be only telling what people expect me to tell. I won't be telling always what people expect to tell, because I am fond of everyone using their own brain first. None of us is no disrespect, none of us is an arts graduate. We are all the, say, medical professionals. We got into our +1 courtesy our board exam marks. Such is the system in India. We got through to medical dental colleges because our scoring percentage was high. So we are the top-notch cream of the society. And if we are not using our brains, who else will? Again, no disrespect to other professions or other streams of in India. But yes, we are supposed to be the intelligent brains. But if you are not ready to use your brain, then it is not my problem. It is surely your problem. So look at the NCB part, claim free year. If the first, if it is for a policy of 5 lakhs. So first year, you have a 10% increase of 550. Then second year, again, 6 lakhs, 650. Some would have a proportional increase. Some would give you a different kind of a increase or a different kind of a notion. So you need to make sure that what exactly is there. Then again, Apollo Munich or HDFC Ergo Optima Restore plan. If no claim has been made and there is no break also, again, this is the clause. The grace period is not counted in this, of course. As I told you, many policies used to have a grace period of 15 days, but now with IRDAI guidelines, most have a grace period of 30 days. It's not 1 month, it is 30 days. So remember, there is a difference between the two. So a bonus in the next year by automatically increasing sum insured by 50% of the basic sum insured. And maximum benefit will not exceed 100% of the sum insured. Then Max Bupa Health Companion Health Insurance Plan, 20% increase in the expiring base sum insured up to a maximum of 100%. Then National Insurance, 5% of the sum. Sarkari and Sarkari ne Sarkari jaisi cheez deni hai. 5% of sum insured of expiring policy in respect of an insured person. Sorry, no disrespect, but we all know how government things work. So now that you're all aware of all those 15 things, always consider the factors which affect you before you zero in on a policy. So now coming to the senior citizen thing, or when you're buying it for parents. Of course, the dynamics remain the same, the factors will remain the same, but other factors will actually add to this part, which are more important over here, like medicines, tests, periodic health checkups, ambulance costs, daycare surgeries. If you are buying a separate, you feel that you have a family floater plan, but you need to buy a separate plan for your parents, surely. because you feel that maybe family floater plan might not be sufficient alone. People buy a second policy as well, separately for parents. Yes, premium would be on the higher side, but there is nothing wrong in it. If someone is predisposed or say uh, is not very friendly with the living conditions and he falls ill very frequently, we obviously have to take care of our loved ones. So we take a second policy. So all these factors. So for you, all these factors out of those 15 will become very important. You have to look for these factors which actually can give you benefits and of course provide ease to your pocket as well. So we all know that they can all burn a hole. So we need to consider a few things for our senior citizens. So we all want that our parents should get the best because they have made us the best profession possible, the doctors. So we always want those who actually care for their parents. They always would want that their parents get the best, because our parents, because of comorbidity, because of various reasons, fall prey to many diseases. So we need to have a high insured plan so that there are no financial constraints when it comes to hospitalization or when it comes to any kind of such issues, because they are the ones who are having a major chance of getting infected than us comparatively, of course. So pre-existing disclosure is very important, the medicines they are taking along with that, so that they are covered for a specific period. For some policies in senior citizens, the waiting period is less, courtesy pre-existing diseases. If it is a separate policy for senior citizens, they will not have a waiting period of 4 years. They will have sometimes a waiting period of 18 to 24 months also. But then you have to search which policy suits you and which are the conditions those are which are covered. So pre-existing and the waiting period play a very important role, and this varies actually from insurer to insurer, especially in cases of senior citizens. And it is in our cases, sometimes it is as high as 48 months. Some policies for senior citizen would also be having for 48 months, but many policies would have a lesser waiting period. So check out for the network hospitals again, the PCR, the premium to coverage ratio, and as per the age, if it is a family floater plan or a separate plan. So again, the claim settlement thing, especially if your nearby hospital or your favorite hospital or your preferred hospital is not in that list, check out the claim settlement part as well. Because for aged people, we always won't want also that we should be going far off, because sometimes if the parents fall ill and you are not home, you are at your workplace, maybe your spouse can actually take your parents to hospital in case of an emergency. But if it is a far off thing, half of the time would be spent in traffic only. So there is a lot riding on the claim settlement part, especially if you're nearby a good hospital is not in the network list. So then additional factors like maternity benefits, of course, are not needed in senior citizens, but free medical checkup, no claim bonus, co-payment option, these are the factors which are very important for senior citizens, especially the co-payment option, because the co-payment option is higher in cases of the senior citizens. So make sure that you check all these factors before you zero down on the policy for the senior citizens. And then a few factors: health history. We all should be knowing what exactly is their current problem, what are their symptoms, what are the diseases, what are the medications that they are taking. So always keep those histories, those files very handy, so that you are able to note about the claim if it is there. Somebody's voice is unmuted. Please mute yourself. Thank you. Some insured, then again, for senior citizens, medical inflation is one criteria you really have to make sure, because heart procedures, knee replacement, hip replacement, all those joint procedures, they actually are very expensive procedures, and whatever they are today, they'll be surely rising more than the normal inflation in the coming 5 to 7 years. And I believe, although industry believes that they will rise 8 to 10, but I believe that medical insurance rises by 5 to 7% at least every year annually. So we have to keep our inflation also in mind for that reason. So then parameters of policies, various, we discussed copay, room rent limit, and the surgery timing especially. Some plans will have a lower premium, but then the waiting period would be more, or maybe other parameters would be accordingly placed differently. So most policies that limit the usage of such things, they will have a lower premium. So again, the premium should not be the criteria. The comfort and the ease should be the criteria, and we need to understand that these are the things which come handy, because our folks, our senior citizens are more prone to diseases. So honest disclosures while disclosing everything. Again, ignorance is not a bliss, I'll say. You need to explain all those things very, very clearly. And sometimes if the senior citizens or the say pre-existing conditions are on the heavier side, the policy holder or the insurance company will ask them to undergo a medical checkup also, depending upon whether they can choose a client or not. The primary thing lies with the courts also give this thing that the anyone can choose his or her client or patient. Nobody can force upon that, yes, I can do it. But once you have chosen, it is your duty to actually give the service. If it is a patient in our clinic or if it is a senior citizen for the health insurance company. So always disclose in full so that you are not actually rejected by the insurance company whenever the situation for claim arises. So now this section is for the salaried people, especially those who are working with a company or working with a network hospital. Those working in hospitals, usually they are accorded the employee benefits in various formats. And apart from meal break, pay raise, social security, perks, bonuses, employees allowance, paid vacation, there is one factor which is usually mandatory by the government of India for every organization, and that is the health insurance. Usually all the companies are say it is mandatory for them to provide a Mediclaim policy to all their employees. And of course, when all the employees of the company are under registered under one group health insurance plan, the group policies will come out to be tad cheaper for the company. And of course, the individual sum insured may not be on the higher side. There are a lot of benefits in the group insurance policies. Let's see a few of them. Then, as I said, sum insured would be default. If all the employees are covered for 2 lakhs, that applies to all, except maybe the top management people might be covered for 5 lakhs or so. But then you have the option to increase your sum insured, especially if you believe that you are predisposed to certain disorders, considering your family history or considering your parent your own condition or your own lifestyle. So the premium is usually shared by the employer and the employee. You pay 50% and the employer pays 50%. Usually, some companies even pay 100% as well. But then if the employer bears the complete premium, they are very generous employers, I would say. There are certain companies as well who are offering this thing. So what are the mandates actually involved in this? So they actually are very flexible in certain matters, but then their limitations are for coverage amount or maybe duration. So, and also once you move out of your job, your group cover will terminate. And you can have two options. Either you port your group plan to an individual plan, or you buy a separate individual plan as well. Group plans and individual plans are drastically different. Group plans sometimes will not have a waiting period, and sometimes they will again, those are the policies which are decided by the top management in consultation. And obviously there are various players, and all companies would want a bigger share of the pie and say agar 100 employees हैं, 100 employees हैं, yes, who will mind insurance from such companies. So in group they get insured as a fixed amount for every individual, and the employer or the public partnership program, as they say, or the 50-50 partnership program is there, whereas the premium is shared or the employer only pays. But individual, you can pick and choose as per your choice, and individual covers only usually a single insurance. So then waiting period. Most of the group policies will not have a waiting period for all the diseases. And that is very, very strange. You might find it strange, but yes, these are the riders which companies can do away with when they are offering a group plan to a organization like a hospital, like a company, like a factory or whatever. So there, but then individual will always have a limitation starting from 30 days initially, then 24 to 36 to 48 months. So usually, as I mentioned, 30 days for the starting, 24 for specific and 48 for the pre-existing diseases is the commonest waiting period. But then usually this differs with group insurance, and only a few diseases or a few pre-existing ones have a waiting period, and that too on the lesser side, but that is the benefit. So if you want to convert your group policy to a individual policy, you can benefit from the waiver of the waiting period. The only thing is that you have to port the policy to the same company. The plan can be higher, can be same. You can get a waiver from that, and then you will be covered. Of course, if you opt for this thing, then your employer won't be paying the premium. You will have to pay the premium, of course, but then this is a good risk that you can take. If you want to change the hospital or the organization later on, you can get a benefit of this waiting period. So under the group it is less, but otherwise there might not be a waiting period in group, but individual it is surely there. So a few things which you need to keep in mind if you are porting from group to individual, that number one, the conversion should be done to the same company. So, and then there is a time clause also for that. I'll be mentioning that. So conversion to be done within the same plan. So you can convert from a group plan to an individual plan. Of course, you can enhance the limit. In company, you might be covered for 2 lakhs. In individual plan, you would want to be covered for 5 to 10 lakhs. So whatever benefits you had in that policy, even for 2 lakhs, they will continue to exist. A waiver of the pre-period or the waiting period, or maybe a good coverage ratio in that sense, maybe other benefits which are associated. All those benefits which are offered to the corporate plan, as I say, will be transferred to the individual plan. But yes, premium does change in that regard. But then if you're getting such benefits, paying a higher premium is absolutely justifiable. So you can't change to another company and to change to an individual policy. Then the conversion should not be more than 45 days later. Once you are accorded a group insurance by your employer, you need to understand the fine print and you can convert the same within 45 days of the same. After 45 days, the conversion will not be possible. But then the third factor is medical testing may be required in many cases. So make sure that you understand these things before you would want to port your group policy to an individual policy. In any case, any salaried individual will not keep on working with the hospital or the organization for unlimited time. There are only ultimately you will shift to your private practice fully, usually. But you need to understand these things, that the factors that will cause you to change your group policy to individual policy should be kept in mind. So just compare for a normal policy. It is not the porting comparison, it is the normal comparison for a group insurance. Pre-existing is usually covered from day one. In this case is after 4 years in most of the individual policies. The ability to make claim in first 30 days or the loading period, yes, only in emergency cases like accidental coverage. So waiting period for select diseases waived off, covered about 12, 24, 36, 48 months, depending upon the policy. Maternity benefits, especially female employees, offered from day one. Generally not offered, and they also start after minimum 2 to 3 years, sometimes even 4 years as well. So medical checkup before enrollment, not required in a group plan, but yes, mandatory for age over 40. Even if you go in for a renewal of your driving license after 40, they will need you to put in a medical report from an eye surgeon. So then co-payment for people above 60, not required, because in private organizations, the retirement age limit is 65. In some, it is 70 as well. So it is not required. It is mostly required co-pay in an individual policy, or even in a family floater plan, it may be required, a co-pay would be required. So relationship manager, yes, no. So these are the benefits comparison of group versus the individual plans. So lastly, the section for today is the health insurance for the disabled. Yes, disabled are also a part of our society, and it is not about the physical disability. It is about the mental disability as well. So companies were hesitant a few years back to provide. We don't call them medically disabled anymore. We call them differently abled. Of course, these terminologies have now changed in India, but there are various myths associated with it. So let's understand what exactly are there. If you remember the last session, I mentioned congenital anomalies that might cause people to be differently abled. They are not actually covered by most of the companies. So yes, a specifically abled or any congenital disorder is not covered, like disabilities from birth. If you're born with certain things like related to heart, cerebral palsy, spina bifida, cystic fibrosis, these are usually not covered by the company. Then disability due to accidents are surely covered. If it is even if it is a partial disability or a total disability, the fractured or impaired limb do fall under this category, and they are usually covered. Partial or complete blindness is also sometimes considered under this category. Then mental disability means any behavioral issues or psychiatric disorders. So the like this, like the congenital diseases, these are also considered high risk cases. So not all companies will have plans, but yes, mental health insurance is a reality in today's times, and many companies are covering it. If not under critical illness, under hospitalization, under the Mediclaim part, they're covered. Of course, they might not be considering it under the critical illness coverage. So because these are the high risk cases, which are known as the red flags to the company, so they are flagged as red, so they are not covered. They're considered sometimes individual. But then if you have an accident and you sustain, God forbid, some form of disability, those people are actually covered under the health insurance plan. And because accidentally disabled people are considered as normal people who, because of a mishap, landed up into this position. So usually they provide them at no additional terms and conditions. They would be considered the physically disabled people, loss of limb, loss of any even eyesight in any accident or due to any hazard or any professional hazard as well. They are considered normal individuals, like a normal walking individual, because these are the factors which have no correlation to health. So they are treated as normal people with no additional riders to those individuals. So what are the eligibility factors? Of course, the health status has to be taken into account, usually for the last couple of months or maybe a last quarter. So if you are suffering from any chronic illness, even the disabled people by accident have a chance of getting the policy claim rejected. Then the second important factor is the earning of the family. People will look into the employment factor, that where is the premium going to come from. If you're not going to pay your premium, obviously you won't be having the coverage. If the person is disabled, there is actually lesser chances of meeting their ends meet, unless the spouse is also working, or maybe the family has any other fixed source of income. So then, because this is dependent directly to the premium paying capacity, so they might ask you for the recent bank accounts or statements or any other ITRs, so that they can decide that what is your value in that regard, what you can actually pay. So pay as a premium to them. So there are some pointers. Again, full disclosure has to be made. You need to make sure that you do not falter on that account. And non-disclosure is the aspect which you can't really get away with. Complete information is mandatory, because non-disclosure in any languages where the same is voluntary is considered as fraud under section IPC 420. So even if you cheat a company or your claim is passed by mistake, and in an audit later on it is disclosed that you actually cheated on the company, you will actually be liable to be treated under IPC proceedings as well. So then restrictive clauses, the underwriters, the ones who actually approve your policy, they might issue you a policy, but they issue with a certain restrictive clause. Itne tak cover hai, limits or sub limits they will add, or the restrictions they will add accordingly depending upon your complications. So epileptic patients are covered, but you will find it strange to believe, if it is an epileptic patient, he shouldn't have had an attack in the past 10 years to be becoming eligible for for coverage under health insurance. if he doesn't have an attack in the last 10 years, why would he be called an epileptic patient? Then the companies have their own whims and fancies for selecting such things. So you should be on regular medication for epilepsy. Even if the patient is on regular medication, there are a good amount of chances that the person at least has 1 or 2 attacks in the 10 years period. So, but then you need to disclose that history as well. The underwriters or the say policy approvers will address all those things, the medical risk factor, and then take a call on that for the disabled person or differently able person. So they allow it, but then proposal acceptance or rejectance is based on the discretion on the policy approvers or the underwriters as they're called. So if you have the full disclosure to facts, they will have full privileges to determine the premium amount. So obviously then the policies come with a 80D tax benefit as well. Like any other individual, even the differently able individuals can claim 80D medical relief under the policies. So there are different policies like Bharti Exa offers a good plan for differently able people. Even the government schemes like Nirmala and Swavlamban will offer you good plans. So check out all those factors, and you can be actually these things. The medical insurance can be medically and financially rewarding for you in cases of a problem. So next aspect is OPD health insurance. And this is the slide where I finished today. And I'll be starting from this slide in the last concluding part tomorrow. And tomorrow we start at 7:30 in the evening for this session. Because again, it will be slightly longer section. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. So I hope you get the gist of today's session. And this is my YouTube channel. Health insurance videos will go online very soon, fast tracked, as I told you. So this is my social media presence. You all are aware of it by now. So my email address, website, phone number, and articles again online. 4 more articles coming to you. Do send me your feedback in the group. And the book is in big bats, both welcome in equal measure. Thank you so much once again. And I stopped my share for questions time. And before the questions, I would like Dr. Rishabh to add whatever he wanted to at that point of time. Yes, Dr. Rishabh, you can unmute and ask, add whatever you want. I think you mentioned at the room rent part, I think something you wanted to mention. Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, room rent का जो part है, it is a very common thing in every policy. जब भी आप देखने जाओगे तो वहाँ पे room rent वाला ये part जरूर आएगा. या कुछ policies देंगी कि they will say कि that room rent cap is exempted or there is no room rent. ये room rent एक बहुत मतलब it will अगर आप सपोज फॉर एग्जांपल 10 लाख की पॉलिसी ले रहे हो या 15 लाख की पॉलिसी ले रहे हो तो 1% रूम रेंट हुआ कि हाँ 10,000 हो गया या 15,000 हो गया तो एक बार को ये लगेगा ठीक है 1% का रूम रेंट है कोई दिक्कत नहीं है दिस 1% रूम रेंट इज ओके 10,000 या 15,000 से ज्यादा का नॉर्मली रूम रेंट नहीं होता है आईसीयू में वो लोग 2% का रूम रेंट दे देते हैं कि सर 2% की आपको जो है अलाउड है लेकिन मोस्ट ऑफ द पॉलिसीज में ये लोग इसका आगे का नहीं एक्सप्लेन करते हैं जो इसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस आपके बाकी की चीजों पे होते हैं इनफैक्ट अगर आप अपने जो एजेंट है जिससे आप पॉलिसी ले रहे हो अगर उससे भी आप पूछोगे तो आपको कभी भी इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन वो नहीं दे पाएंगे मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस मतलब 90% ऑफ द केसेस में जो इंश्योरेंस एजेंट होगा वो आपको इसका इफेक्ट बता ही नहीं पाएगा
ट्रू
और जो अलग अलग कंपनियों की जो पॉलिसीज हैं उनके भी डॉक्यूमेंट्स में इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं होता है सिर्फ कुछ कंपनी है जो कि इसको बाय एग्जांपल समझाती हैं कि ये कैसे काम करता है तो ये रूम रेंट का जो पार्ट है ये बहुत ध्यान रखने वाली बात है इनफैक्ट आई वुड रिकमेंड कि अगर हो सके तो ऐसी पॉलिसीज लीजिए जहाँ पे रूम रेंट का कैप नहीं हो फॉर एग्जाम्पल रूम रेंट कैसे काम करता है सपोज करिए 10 लाख रुपए का आपने इंश्योरेंस लिया हुआ है और उस पर उन्होंने 1% का रूम रेंट लगाया कैप लगाया हुआ है 1% का मतलब ये हो गया कि अगर आप 10,000 जो है वो कंपनी आपको पे करेगी एट नेट जो रूम का आपका रेंट हो अब अगर मान लीजिए इन केस ऑफ इमरजेंसी आप उस हॉस्पिटल में गए और आपको 12,000 रुपए का रूम मिल रहा है उससे नीचे का रूम नहीं मिल रहा है तो आपके पास कोई चॉइस नहीं है आप 12,000 रुपए का रूम आप ले लोगे एट दैट टाइम हमारे दिमाग में क्या आएगा कि 10,000 ही तो 2,000 का तो हमारा एक्स्ट्रा हमारी पॉकेट से जा रहा है लेकिन एक्चुअली में वो 2000 जो गया, तो कंपनी ने आपको जो मान लीजिए 12,000 का अगर वो रूम रेंट के हिसाब से वो बनाते हैं बिल, तो कंपनी आपको देगी 10,000, यानी कि अप्रोक्सीमेटली 16-17% कंपनी आपको रूम रेंट के बिल में से घटा रही है। ये 16-17% सिर्फ यही नहीं घटेगा, जो आगे की जो भी चीजें होंगी, सर्जिकल प्रोसीजर या तमाम जो भी चीजें होंगी, उन सब में जो है ये 17% घट जाएगा। तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल मान लीजिए अगर 2 लाख रुपए आपके सर्जरी का खर्चा आया, तो उसका 17% अप्रोक्सीमेटली हो गया जाकर के करीब करीब रफली कितना 40,000 के आसपास का आपका जो है उसमें घट जाएगा। मेडिसिन में भी घट जाएगा, मेडिसिन में कुछ काटती है कुछ नहीं काटती है। तो ये रूम रेंट वाला ऑप्शन जो है ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है। जहां तक हो सके जब भी आप कंपनीज को सेटल करिए, वैसे भी इन जनरल रूम रेंट हो गया या अगर और भी जो क्लॉजेज आते हैं, आप हमेशा कभी भी अगर इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज को कंपेयर करो तो उसमें आप ये देखो कौन कौन से क्लॉज में वो हटा करके कितना प्रीमियम बढ़ रहा है। तो हमेशा पॉलिसीज को इस तरीके से कवर करिए।
ओके।
सेकंड थिंग, अभी सर ने जितना भी 2 दिन के अंदर समझाया है, इट इज नॉट सो इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड। सर ने बहुत, क्योंकि सर को तो पूरा एक बहुत बड़ा उन्हें चीजों को समझाना है, एक बहुत बड़े पर्सपेक्टिव में समझाना है। ये इसमें से बहुत सारी चीजें आपको अभी भी समझ में नहीं आएंगी। अगर आप ऑनेस्टली अपने बेसिस पे अगर आप ये समझना चाहते हो कि मेरे को हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी कैसे लेनी है, जो कि हमें करना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो भी एजेंट आपके पास आएगा उसको इतनी चीजें नहीं पता होंगी जितनी सर ने इसके अंदर बताई हैं, और क्योंकि उनको सिर्फ पॉलिसी बेचने से मतलब होता है, और पॉलिसी बेचने के बाद जब कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है तब वो आपको उसमें कह देते हैं कि सर वो तो पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट में ऐसा लगा है, या मैं कंपनी के ऑफिशियल से बात करके आपको बताऊंगा। वो बात वहां पे खत्म हो जाती है। तो जब भी आप पॉलिसी लेने जाओ तो हमेशा बेस्ट ये है कि आप डोंट रश टू बाय हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी। आप डेली आधा घंटा बैठ करके एट द एंड ऑफ द डे या जो भी कंफर्टेबल टाइम हो, आप जस्ट हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस के आर्टिकल्स को गूगल पे सर्च करो। इतना उसके ऊपर दिया हुआ है, एक बार में आपको इनकी टर्मिनोलॉजी समझ में नहीं आएंगी। आपको जब एक टर्मिनोलॉजी को आप जब 2 या 3 आर्टिकल से पढ़ोगे तब आपको समझ में आएगा, तब आप कोरिलेट कर पाओगे कि इनका क्या मतलब है। तो इट इज ऑलवेज कि आप हमेशा 10 या 12 दिन आप बैठ करके इसको पहले पूरा सब्जेक्ट को समझो कि क्या मतलब है, तब उसके बाद जो और पॉलिसी बेचने वाली जो साइट्स हैं जैसे पॉलिसी बाजार या तमाम है, उन पे आप इनको कंपेयर करो। इट इज स्टिल नॉट सो इजी टू परचेज अ हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी। ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई इतना सब करने के बाद आप बिल्कुल फूल प्रूफ हो जाओगे, बट हाँ इतने क्लॉज होते हैं, वो आपको इतनी जगह पे पिंच करते हैं कि आपको पता ही नहीं होता है कि हो क्या रहा है, और जब आप लेने जाते हो क्लेम तब आपको जो है वो बस कागज पकड़ा देते हैं। सेकेंड थिंग जो मुझे लगा कि जब आपने अगर 1 या 2 कंपनी जो आपने सेलेक्ट कर ली है उसमें से, अगर हो सके तो उसके पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट आप सब्सक्राइब करने के पहले, वो पॉलिसी परचेज करने के पहले पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट्स के प्रिंट आउट निकालिए और उसको आराम से बैठ के पढ़िए कि उनमें क्या क्या डिफरेंसेस आ रहे हैं। जब आपने 1 या 2 कंपनी जो भी आपने सेलेक्ट कर ली, उसके बाद फाइनली जब आप जिस कंपनी की पॉलिसी लेने जा रहे हो, उसका जो फॉर्म है जो आप भरोगे, चाहे आप ऑनलाइन भर रहे हो या फिजिकली भर रहे हो, पॉलिसी का फॉर्म भरने के बाद उसका प्रिंट आउट जरूर निकाल के रख लो एंड कीप इट इन योर along with your policy document, क्योंकि that is actually a contract that you are signing at that time। आगे अगर कभी भी वो कोई भी चीज अगर वो खत्म करते हैं, सपोज करिए कोई भी क्लॉज उसमें से खत्म करते हैं, वो तो ये कह देंगे सर ये तो हर साल रिन्यूअल होता है, आपका ये क्लॉज खत्म हो गया। बट लेकिन आप उस चीज को लेकर के कम से कम आपके पास एक कागज तो होगा कि हाँ जिस समय मैंने पॉलिसी खरीदी थी उस टाइम पे उस पॉलिसी में ये चीज, ये फैसिलिटी अवेलेबल थी जो कि आप अभी मना कर रहे हो, या ये बात है, या आपने इसमें ये चीज, इसकी जो टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन है वो आपने चेंज कर दी। क्योंकि सर मेरे ख्याल से शायद जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रहता है वो तो वही रहेगा जो आपने साइन किया है।
Absolutely.
अगर एनुअली अगर रिन्यूअल भी हो रहा है तो
Absolutely, that remains the same.
अगर वो कंपनी अपनी टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन चेंज भी करती है, लेकिन जो आपने जब आपने पॉलिसी खरीदी थी और वो पॉलिसी अगर कंटिन्यू हो रही है, तो जो आपके टाइम पे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था वही मेरे ख्याल से आगे तक बना रहेगा ना।
Okay, for those who had a little bit of difficulty in understanding the language because of the diversity in our cultures, what Dr. Rishabh wanted to say was that the room rent does not affect only if the room rent, you go to the hospital and you get your policy is 10 lakhs and for example the room rent limit is 1%, that would mean that you are having a room rent limit of 10,000 per day. Usually for ICU, it is 2% per day, limited to that. For example, we are presuming a scenario. So, but if you have a certain hospitalization and the hospital is full, and they say that the room for 10,000 or up to 10,000 is not available, you are having only the VIP room, which is costing you roughly 12,000. That is only available. So you have no choice. You have to pick that room. And what he means to say that whenever you go in for the reimbursement or whatever it is, or maybe whatever you have to pay above your cap, that is the scenario. That means that you're 16 to 17%. If your bill is 12,000 and you're being paid 10,000 per day from the room rent, that means approximately 16 to 17% is being deducted. So, and as he said, this would apply to all the services. That I actually added in my presentation as well, that whenever the room rent is enhanced, so obviously all the services associated with the medical charges, the doctor fees, the visit fees, the medicines and all those things are also added as a additional cost in that. So number one point, he mentioned that. Number second point, he said that irrespective of however the way I have simplified the things, it will still be very difficult for you to just pick up a policy. Even an agent would not be able to guide you properly, because the agents will have a lot of sugary words to use whenever they have to choose a policy. But yes, my work is to convey the basics. I could have done that easily in one sitting as well. Why I kept a session of 1.5 hours, tomorrow would be 2 hours in 3 periods. If I'm spending 5 hours in a session in a particular topic in today's scenario, and again fast tracking that video to YouTube for the benefit of all, there must be some reason for it, because I want you to understand. And as much as I can simplify, I've done that. Yes, companies would not find it, even they will not find it to do that. The third thing he mentioned, that yes, before you jot down on the policy, just take a printout of the same, which actually sometimes, what I believe, sometimes might not be possible for you to take out the clauses, because many of the policies are customized according to your need, where depending upon your set of diseases, what you opt for, and your contract would be the same. So he suggested that yes, whatever you do, you read it, spend half an hour at least on it before you sign on the dotted line, and whatever you premium you pay, then keep the printout of that in your record. I discussed in the previous session, yes, record keeping for 3-4 years is sometimes mandatory. For example, I gave the example of Apollo Munich also last time, which was taken over by HDFC Ergo. Even the Ergo was taken over by HDFC. So if they are actually going in for that kind of a thing, if the TPA is being changed, the third party administrator is being changed, you need to have the old documents preserved with you. You won't be searching out your email at that time. You need to have the document in your secure place, that where you can actually make out, yes, this is the contract between me and the company, and no company can back out from that. Even if there is a case of a merger or acquisition, like HDFC Ergo, a merger, or a HDFC Ergo takeover or acquisition of the Apollo Munich, in both the cases, the IRDAI guidelines says the individual contract has to be abided by the third party administrator who is taking over that. So if you had a contract with Apollo Munich, maybe the HDFC is not having the same policy, but those customers who were from Apollo Munich, if they are getting the renewal done on time, they are paying those things on time, they have not indulged in non-disclosure of any documents, they will have to be abided by the same contract by the third party administrator in that case. So as a solution to this, even if you are not allowed to take a printout in the initial stage before you sign the policy, every policy as per IRDAI guidelines comes with a 15-day free look-in period that I also mentioned in the previous day. So you can return the policy without any damages. You'll get the full return of the premium, including the GST as well. Some TPAs would deduct GST, but the IRDAI guidelines says the whole amount is to be returned in the free look period. So don't worry about that part. So I hope Rishabh, I covered everything, or anything
Yes,
was
sir.
left
Yes,
out?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I hope Dr. Kanaga, Dr. Murugan, Dr. Raghu, it is all clear to you, whatever was spoken. This is the thing actually. So the room rent is definitely a rider, but room rent limit aside, my take would be to decide between the thing, check out for the other sublimits if they are associated with it. Yes, the other sublimits of, as I mentioned, the increase in the charges would be जैसे बोलते हैं ना दुल्हन के साथ दहेज में, the dowry comes free with the bride. So these come free with the bride of that. If the room rent is expensive, the other charges would be automatically expensive. They sometimes might not be mentioned. They might be mentioned. The pro rata increase would be there. The proportionate increase would be there. That one line sometimes will not be. You will not be able to decipher correctly. So that is the reason I'm spending 5 hours plus. I have not yet counted the question answer time to this 5 hours. If you add, it is 6 hours. So if it is for your benefit only. So if you still you can still at least gain 80% or 90% of the basics from this. Yes, there are certain advanced things as well, as Dr. Rishabh also mentioned. But yes, if you cover these at least 80 to 90% of the basics, trust me, you will still be at a much better position than what you were a week back. Even if you had a policy. Even if you had a policy. So I hope the things should be clear. So I'm taking up the questions from the chat first, and after that you can ask me any questions if there are. So Dr. Bhavna asks, sir, can there be no co-payment option? Usually many young policies, young individual policies will not have a co-payment clause or have a very minuscule one, 2%, 5% also sometimes. But usually a higher co-payment clause is there in the senior citizen policies, as high as 20%, rarely 25 as well. You can opt for an even higher co-pay, but then as I said, gave the example of 10 lakhs. If it is you have the co-payment at 50 to 60%, out of 10 lakhs, if you're paying 5 to 6 lakhs, what is the benefit? उस 5-6 जो बचा उसमें से भी you will get a deduction as deductibles. Then another thing, then the room rent limits may be there, other sub limits may be there. Ultimately, if you're getting just 2 lakh out of your 10 lakh policy, then what is the benefit of such a co-payment clause? So keep a balance. But yes, it does exist for a senior citizen and is in a very minuscule thing for the youngsters. But then 15 factors may, that is why the co-payment was included as a policy. So thank you, Dr. Raghu. Thank you, Dr. Divya. So if we need 25 lakh coverage, is it advisable to take 5 lakh basic coverage and 20 lakh top up? Dr. Kanaga, the only thing is that sometimes in top up, there might be certain diseases which will not be covered. The primary ones would be covered. There will be only a 20 lakh coverage for the very uncommon ones, which might not be handy for you as well. So if you are hospitalized, only the basic limit would be then looked at for those factors which are covered in the primary limit. So having a top up might be a good thing, but then it acts as a floater limit only for a few things, not for complete coverage. So remember, you have to keep this thing in mind.
Sir, one more thing, besides looking for a top up, it is always, please also see a super top up term in the health insurance. Although very less company provide this super top up type of plans, but there is a lot of difference between the top up and a super top up. So before you go for a top up, always look for the super top up. What are the inclusions and what is the difference between both of them? Technically, there is a difference between both of them in their functionality. So always look for the super top up also.
Sure. I have a brief section of top up and super up top up in the third section. So I was already going to take up that. So don't worry. So is there any advantage of buying through an agent? Dr. Divya, if the agent is a well-informed one, yes. But in today's times, absolutely no. No benefit of buying through an agent. You actually buy an policy cheaper. You are more aware. You can make good comparisons. And obviously, if the agent is from your known family, you sometimes can't say a no also if you don't like the policy. So that is a big drawback also sometimes. I gave the example, I think you were not there in the group at that time. One of my uncles used to deal in LIC and he got me an endowment plan. And trust me, one of those endowment plans just finished in 31st March and one will finish in 2026. And the coverage I had was 1 lakh in this plan and 2 lakhs in that plan, which was done in 2001 and 2005 respectively. So absolutely no use for those plans. So in premium payment, how is 30 days break different from a month break? Usually a 30 day is a standard thing because the month can be 28 also, the month can be 31 also. So to remove any kind of disparities, to remove any kind of assumption based thinkings, they specified 30 days. February can be 28, 29, a month can be 31, January, March, May, August, July, October and December can be 31. So to remove that, it is a 30-day clause. to be very specific, not exactly a month, which can be less or more also. Of course, we have only one less month, but yes, to remove any kind of confusion, 30 days means 30 days in that regard. And whatever is mentioned in the policy, it used to be the companies usually followed their own wish and will till they had a watchdog. As I mentioned, their watchdog is IRDI. They actually keep a tab on all these things, and all these watchdogs have actually gotten more power in the recent 5 to 6 years. Again, no credit or discredit to any government, but yes, this is the thing that has actually got more powerful in the recent years, so that the companies don't take the customers for a ride. That is very important. So if we take the insurance in one city and need to get admitted in another city, will there be any issue in claiming the health insurance? No, absolutely not. The network hospital list is available pan India. There is no issue usually in that. And if you bought an online policy, but then sometimes the tier of city can decide your that limit and sublimit thing. So a minor difference, again, 10-15% of the total coverage would be there, but otherwise there should not be any issue in the claim part. And if that city which you are opting for does have the network hospital list, then there should anyways not be any issue. So how many times can we do portability? As of now, you can port once a year as of now, but these things can keep on changing, Dr. Madhvi. How many times we can take a portability? We can do at least once a year at the moment. In mobile, mobile industry, telecom industry, we can port and then we have to be blocked for 6 months, I guess. In IRDI guidelines, it is for 1 year. Presently, again, these things are subject to change. Presently, it is 1 year. So any more queries? Any more queries? My daughter is already there, so he was trying to distract me. Anyways. So in COVID situation, even the network hospitals are denying cashless option. What to do? Dr. Kanaga, I'll be taking up COVID separately in the next issue. Don't worry. Next part tomorrow only. I'll be taking up COVID in detail. There is no point in discussing a little bit about that. I'll discuss everything in detail. Dr. Prabjit, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Prabjit. Any more queries, or we call it a day? So we take a we break for today, and those who want to attend the costing and the gross profit margin, tomorrow be there at 6:30 morning. I'll be starting half an hour early because tomorrow morning is also going to be slightly longish session. So I'm starting half an hour early. And tomorrow evening, health insurance part 3, last part, again would be starting half an hour early at 7:30 p.m. It's already mentioned in the group. So have a good night, have a good sleep, and surely do put in your feedback in the group, whatever you have. If there are any learnings from today, surely do put in. So thank you, Dr. Rishabh, for your input. Really appreciate. Okay, take care. Have a good night. Bye. See you in the morning.
Good night. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.